Hey, this is Mr. Dan. We're going to make some fudge, and we're going to make fudge with dextrose sugar. Dextrose sugar is a special sugar that's 100% glucose, and what's cool about glucose is that glucose is good for you, unlike table sugar, which is half glucose and half fructose, where fructose is bad for you. So the dextrose sugar is my favorite sugar. You can have lots and lots of it. It doesn't generate fat cells. It does generate calories, but not fat cells. So you can, burn it off pretty quickly. My favorite fudge is a fast fudge make. We're going to be using dextrose sugar, which just looks like regular sugar. Costs about $1 a pound or something like that. And then we're going to be using some unsalted butter. We could use salted, but then you don't know how much salt to use. So I tend to use unsalted butter so I can add my own salt. Salt, in case we decide. And what I'll do with the salt, by the way, is I'll put the salt in, then I'll taste a little bit to see if I'm happy with the amount of salt. And if I'm not, I'll add some more. You never want to put in too much salt because you can't take it out. So it's a one-week ingredient. So, and then I'm using Hershey's cocoa, which is here. And this is what's called Dutch chocolate, which is really super dark. And what's nice is it makes a really strong chocolate taste. And then I have some vanilla extract. I'll just use a little of this vanilla extract to make it kind of fun. So I'm going to mix it all up. I'm going to put it into a greased pan. That's a fairly small one because I like the fudge to be thick. And then we're going to put this into the freezer when we're done so it all sets. And then we're going to take it out and enjoy it. And that's what we're going to do. Real simple. So it's going to be noisy as we do the blending part. We have to beat these things together. So we're going to try here. We'll start with the butter. So it's pretty. This, by the way, is a half a cup. So it's 1/2 cup of butter, and it's 2 cups. So 1/2 cup of butter. It's 2 cups of dextrose. So that's kind of the ratio we're using. But I'll taste a little of it to see if I'm happy with how sweet it is. Sometimes I'm in a sweeter mood, and then I want more. I want more of it. So then I'll just take the dextrose sugar. You don't have to mix it in very carefully here because that's what the actual mixer is for. But I want at least to kind of get it in here a little bit. Just so we can kind of see it's kind of blending a little bit. And if we need to, we'll add a little bit of heavy cream or something to make this go in better. So there's not much to it. So you'll notice all the ingredients on here are either dry or they're just sort of fat-like, which is what butter is. And then I'm going to put in the chocolate. Again, this is unsweetened. You don't want sweetened because sweetened is going to have almost for sure regular table sugar in it, or cane sugar, or beet sugar, and all those things are going to have fructose in them, and fructose causes fat cell production, and we don't want to encourage fat cell production, so we're not going to put those in. And then we're going to put some salt in. I'll put that, but I'm going to leave a little bit out just in case. I just don't know how salty it's going to be yet. So. Alright, so there's that. Now we're going to use a little bit, just a small amount of vanilla extract. That's just to give it a little offsetting flavor. You don't really have to use the vanilla extract, but it's kind of nice. And I use it maybe about, I don't know, not very much, 1/3 of a tablespoon or something, not very much. It's just sort of an additional little flavor to it. It's not a big deal. Alright, so this is all looking very good. And now we have to blend it so it looks smooth. We really want this to look really, really smooth because that means it's blended properly. Otherwise you end up with these patches, as you can see, of the sugar. This is the dextrose sugar. Remember, dextrose sugar is the good sugar. It's the sugar that's all glucose. So it's good for you. Now here's the noisy part. And you can see it's starting to blend up. I'm going to be doing it a bit stronger because I really want it to be really blended. with the way that it looks. Looks all blended up. Now let's see. Oh yeah, it's nice and smooth. I have to try just a little bit of it. And that's pretty good. Alright, so I don't need any more salt. Move on in here. Let me go on this side so you can see. Just gonna put all this into the pan here. Again, you can see it's fairly thick. That's perfectly fine. And if you're living in a hotter environment, it'll be thinner than this actually. This is just the butter basically is what's causing it to be thick or not. When I was playing around with this, I started by melting the butter completely. So the butter was a complete liquid, and then I did it, and that made it easier to mix, but it took longer for it to set. So now I'm not doing it that way. Okay, so now it's all in the pan. Now we have to tap this down. You can see these we probably could have used a smaller pan, or we could have doubled the batch. This is a fairly small batch. You can also add into this peanut butter and pretty much not change anything. Just add peanut butter in addition to what we did, maybe a half a cup. And you can also add maybe a half a cup instead, or an addition of coconut oil. Virgin coconut oil, which means it has not been processed. Processed coconut oil is really bad for you. Unprocessed coconut oil is really good for you. And you can see it all looks fairly smooth and nice. Alright, that looks pretty good. And now we're going to put it in the freezer. We could put it in the refrigerator. Then you just have to wait longer. So, put it in the freezer. This will take 5 minutes. And we'll come back to it after it's done. And there we go. Very good. So wait 5 minutes and we'll try it. Okay, it's about 5 minutes later, and now we're going to check out the fudge. You can see it's nice and cold. That's all it has to be. Remember, the part that makes it really solid is all that nice butter that's in it. And we're going to take it. This is the final step. Final's taking it out. The next final is going to be eating it. And I usually just cut down here. I usually pre-cut. I keep this usually in the refrigerator because otherwise it will liquefy again, because it's mostly butter, right? So it'll liquefy, especially in hotter climates. In Minnesota, this is not a problem. You can just leave it out all you want, because it'll be 55 in your house anyhow in the winter. And we cut it all up into nice squares, and then we'll grab a small piece. We can get one. There we go. And there's a piece, and we can try it. Relatively perfect. Very good. Here we go. Dextrose fudge. Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
All right. So there are two types of components to sugars, and this is important.
3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Today we're going to talk about some health issues, and the one we're going to talk about in particular is about sugar. People think that sugar is sugar. You go to a store, you buy some sugar, you make some food with it. Well, it turns out that all sugars are not the same. Cane sugar, which is what most people use, is actually made out of two different molecules. A little bit, chemical, but it's got two molecules. One of them is glucose, which is really good for you. And the other molecule is fructose, as in high fructose corn syrup. You've heard a lot about that. Fructose is very bad for you. Fructose will cause fat, it causes triglycerides, it has a lot of bad side effects. And so that's what cane sugar is like, is it's 50% glucose, good stuff, and cane sugar is 50% fructose, the bad stuff. So it's 50 good, 50 bad. Okay. Dextrose sugar, completely different sugar. Dextrose sugar is 100% glucose, 100% the really good stuff. And so we cook everything with dextrose, and because it's 100% glucose, the good sugar. Glucose does not generate fat cells, amazingly enough, and it's not unhealthy for you. It is obviously if you're a diabetic, but normally speaking, it's not unhealthy at all for you. It does not cause hypertension. It's a really, really good sugar because dextrose is 100% glucose. So where do you buy dextrose? Well, turns out that yeast also don't like fructose. Fructose, not good for people, not good for yeast. So if you go to a home brewery store and you go there, you can say, can I buy some dextrose sugar? And they will have dextrose sugar at the brewery place, and it'll be the same price as regular table sugar, but when you use it for cooking, it'll be healthy for you. And that's the lesson for today.